Your concert station, Uvalde Radio.
I met you, my country girl. You didn't have a thing. I dressed you up, I fell in love, then I bought the ring. I was teaching you to love, you were doing fine. Then one day you learned too much, and it poisoned your sweet mind. Now you've gone and left me, you're with somebody new. And I wonder if you told him I bought the clothes on you. When you two are dancing, do you whisper soft and sweet? I wonder if you'll tell him I bought the shoes on your feet. Now I've lost my country girl to a city love affair. He built you up, you fell for him, you didn't treat me fair. You think that he's a dream come true, he said he loved you so. But wait until the word gets out, I taught you all that you know. Now you've gone and left me, you're with somebody new. And I wonder if you told him I bought the clothes on you. When you two are dancing, do you whisper soft and sweet? I wonder if you'll tell him I bought the shoes on your feet.
UvaldeRadio.net, it is your concert station. That was Bobby Flores with Country Girl, and we're all excited about the big show coming up this Saturday night, the Uvalde Grand Opera House, rescheduled from back in the fall, and we're so excited that he's making it here now that it's springtime and the state's opening up a little bit here. So, hey, joining me on the phone right now, the one and only legendary Mr. Bobby Flores.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey.
Good morning to you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for carving out some time. I know you're a busy guy doing a lot of stuff, and we're just getting excited to, just hype up the show a little bit and get to know you. So, man, I'm telling you what, I was reading over your biography on your official website, and there is so much to unpack about you. It's almost intimidating, man.
Oh, well, thanks.
So, man, you've done so many recordings. I think it said you're on 400 recordings, some major label stuff. Of course, there's going to be some independent stuff. You've got some independent solo records and whatnot. And I honestly, I'm having a hard time deciding where to start. So I figured I'd start this way. What I found was really impressive was your musical training, man. And, you've done some jazz guitar and classical music and, violin also. Tell me about your musical background as far as the training goes and some of the greats that you learned from.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I was really fortunate. My mom and dad, sang and played around the house. My mom was in a professional duo with her sister, the Trevino sisters. And so I was around music all my life, back to the 60s, music, and they were doing all kinds of really cool stuff, to the Spanish music. I listened to a lot of country music, growing up. So we had, Merle Haggard, Ray Price, Johnny Bush records around the house. And so, I grew up listening to a lot of that. I started playing a guitar when I was really young because my dad played every day after dinner. So that came really quick and easy. And my mom and I had a duo by the time I was 7. So we were doing everything from Renee and Renee to Merle Haggard and everything in between.
Wow.
So I started out basically country, and then I got into started getting into jazz and rock and classical pretty seriously when I was in my early teens. And I started my own band when I was 13 years old. and we played around the state quite a bit. And when I was 18, I realized I was going to need some classical studies on fiddle, violin.
Uh-huh.
So I was real fortunate to go to Trinity, where I studied basic theory there, and I started training under Dominic Saltarelli. So he took me under his wing, and he had trained other fiddle players here in the area. So just a great teacher, and that's where I got my classical violin training from. And so I played in the community string orchestra with him. And I still do the same orchestra sometimes on Mondays if we can ever get back together.
Right.
And I studied, a little with, Jackie King, who was a fantastic jazz, legend around here and all over the world. I mean, he played with everybody, and I was real fortunate. I learned a ton from him. David Underwood, classical guitar, is such a musical guy. He's just a genius when it comes to classical. I've been super fortunate to get to study with those teachers.
So obviously you've got the right upbringing, the chops, and again, starting at 7 with your mom. From what I understand, you were already doing nightclubs, like 9, 10 years old. What was that experience like? I mean, it had to be kind of, you literally grew up, gigging, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. When I was 9 years old, they started paying me to do opening sets. For like Marty Robbins, Wynn Stewart, Conway Twitty. So it was just fantastic because I'd get to do my opening set and then sit on the front row and watch these great artists perform. It was fantastic. I learned a lot. Got to meet them. And I was a real lucky kid to have that experience.
Now tell me this. I mean, how did they promote that? Did they just kind of push you as like a child prodigy? I mean, what was the angle to push a 9, 10-year-old kid, to open up for these, living legends? Was it just that you were that good, or was it more like, hey, look at this cute guy that can play? I mean, I'm just.
Well, I had been playing around already around town, so I was already making a little name for myself around, performing different places and a lot of shows anyway. So I recorded my first single when I was 10, so I got some airplay by that time. KKYX was super generous to me. Bill Rohde and all those guys, and they really helped me at that stage of my career, especially. I was somewhat known around town already, even as a kid, and just really grateful for all the support that I got.
I think that's fantastic because I think a lot of times when you think of like young artists, they tend to be like pop artists, like like your Justin Bieber types, like teen pop sensations. But it's kind of cool to understand that, and to wrap my brain around the fact that somebody making legit music, at that age, that was heralded as just, like I said, legitimate. It's very, very cool, man. Just you don't see that anymore.
Jerry King was another one that I surely want to mention. He's been a big supporter all my life, and he was also KKYX at the time, and with that kind of help, it's hard to go wrong. So they really helped me get a lot of gigs as well.
So obviously you work with all the right people. You got all these great influences. Now it did take you some time to actually put out your first actual solo record. Tell me what that experience was like. I guess working with you were a band leader, for a while, right? And so what was that transition from working with others or being a band guy into kind of doing your own thing?
Well, my first full play album was when I was 13, and that's when I started. My first group, and so we played around quite a bit. When I was 19 years old, I got my first call to actually be a sideman and tour on a bus and travel with an artist, with a star, who at the time happened to be the great Johnny Bush, who we just recently lost.
Yes, yeah.
Oh man, what a great artist. He's one of the great founding fathers of country music as we know it, the dance hall country. And he gave me my first break, so I played fiddle and opened for him. And I ended up opening for, working for other artists as their front person. I had the great fortune of playing first fiddle with Ray Price for several years, and my very first record was a Ray Price record. It was a Columbia Red 45. So that meant an awful lot to me, and I toured with him for quite a while. And then I got my Yellow Rose Band together right around 2003.
Okay.
And I got neck deep into all the traditional country, the fiddles in the steel. We have 3 fiddles in my band.
Wow.
Which makes it really unique, and we have a blast together. So it's a real unique sound. It's a big sound. They're all great players, that's when I started that particular group. So it's all a little bit of a blur,
Right?
Really. But
I can only imagine. Well, now tell me this. There's a question I have about just your musical savvy. You have no problem kind of going between Western swing, traditional country, classical like jazz and whatnot. How do you? I think, and only the experience I have with people that I know in the business, it seems like they kind of generally stick to one genre. How do you, I guess music is emotive. How do you pull different inspiration, I guess, and what's it like to do, some jazz here, some country there? Do you have to pull from different parts of you? What's it like to kind of vacillate between those things?
Gosh, it's all part of me. And again, I feel really blessed to, truly love different styles of music and to have been able to dabble in them, and play them as a profession even. I would attribute that all, to my family. My mom and dad, my uncles and aunts, who also, my Uncle Art, played bass in the band, Mike and the Delrays way back, and I was exposed to that. Escobedos, who, turned me on to jazz, play-alongs as a really young kid, and Cleto, now plays in Jimmy Kimmel's band.
Wow.
Him and his son both, and so I can't give enough thanks for the family and their support in introducing me to all these different styles, and I think that had a lot to do why today I love Coltrane as much as I do in Parker, but yet I love Tommy Jackson and Ray Price music and Alan Holdsworth and Eric Johnson and everything in between. So and it's really great because there's a lot of great music out there, and I'm glad to have a love for all of it.
Again, we're talking to Mr. Bobby Flores. He is performing this Saturday at the Uvalde Grand Opera House. Now, I know the state's opening up just quite a little bit today, actually, as of today, but it is going to be a socially distanced show, so don't worry, it's going to be real safe. All those protocols will be kept. Caitlin and Camille at the Opera House are doing a fantastic job of securing everybody's health and safety. So get your tickets now at uvaldeoperahouse.org. Bobby Flores and the Yellow Rose Band performing. Now go ahead and, Bobby, give me a little preview of what's to come on the big live show at the Opera House.
Okay, I have got some stellar players in my band, and I'm so proud of all of them. The 3 fiddles, they're one of our main, features, but a lot of the band members, they also sing. Fantastic players, so people are going to get to hear their musicianship and all the different styles everybody comes from in their playing, and it's a great group. We have a lot of fun together anyway. So when we get together on stage and play music, it's a real joy, and I think that transfers out to the audience. So it's a great group. We have a great time and try to play the best music, and we have a great time doing it. So I'm really looking forward to being back there in Uvalde.
Now tell me this. I know that the world's been a crazy place for the last year or so. How has the pandemic affected you and what you do? And how many shows have you been doing? Are you guys a little out of practice? Got to knock the rust off? What's that process been like? I guess, to kind of, I don't know if you've been, busy in the studio, or if you've got to just been, doing honeydews. What's this last year been like for you, and how's it affecting what's going on now?
Well, right around March, everybody started canceling, gigs, for the band. But at that exact same time, everybody got the same idea. Hey, let's go make a CD. This is a great time to make a record. And so I got a ton of calls. I've been staying busy at my studio anyway, which is BAM Recording Studios. And so that takes almost all of my time during the week, producing records, and I love it. So that has just been gangbusters, since last March or so, and it hasn't let up. It's still wild. Plus I have a music school here, BAM Music Studios, and we teach talented students that want to notch it up in all areas, on all instruments, performance, on from there. We haven't missed a day there either. We went online for a couple of months, and everybody started to come back in after that. So those guys kind of picked up where the gigs dropped off. And so, like most bands, we just got the rug pulled out from under our feet. And so we've worked 1 or 2 jobs, but we're looking forward to getting back on stage, and I know everybody will just drop right back into it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, well, what's that rehearsal process for guys like you? Obviously, you work with world-class musicians. Do you just get back in for a quick little tune-up, or do you take like, a couple of weeks to really lay down that new set list or whatever?
No, we know our stuff pretty well. So not really saying there won't be a cobweb show here or there, but still, I think the band is so tight. I mean, we'll get together and play. Nobody will be able to tell that we hadn't played in the last couple of months, few months or whatever. They're just that caliber of musicians. So yeah, it'll be just like old hat, the first note.
For an individual who's never seen you, who doesn't really know your work, and decides, hey, you know what, I want to get out on a Saturday night and check out what's going on at the Opera House. Describe for just man walking in the street what they can expect and what kind of genres you're going to be playing.
Triple fiddle country, a lot of steel guitar. We do traditional country, and then we'll do some really cool Western swing songs as well. So the Western swing, really, that's just a good excuse to play bebop, for the most part. So it's a lot of fun. So there's songs, people have heard. We try to do all great songs. So, from one song, to the next, we try not to put any fillers in there. And it's a really great show. We have a nice theater show worked up, and I get to feature all the musicians. So there's, things changing all the time. Several of the players play several instruments. So we'll be swapping around quite a bit. My bass player, Brady Gandy, he recently took second place in the state banjo competition, but yet he plays everything on stage. See, Jack Phillips is another one. He plays, literally everything on the stage. So we'll be doing a lot of switching around, and it's a fun show, and I know whoever comes will enjoy it right along with us.
And again, that show is Saturday night at the Uvalde Grand Opera House. Go to uvaldeoperahouse.org to get your tickets, or you can try to get them when you walk up Saturday night. But don't yell at me if they're sold out. Now you mentioned awards. I would be remiss without mentioning this. You guys, I guess, got nominated for a ton of Josie Awards last fall. How did that play out for you guys?
So we all piled in a van, and we got to play one of my original songs for the show. It's a huge auditorium, the Dollywood Theater there, and it was great. So we had a great time performing. That's a great organization, and they've been really kind enough to award me as well with traditional classic country vocalist of the year, male artist of the year, entertainer of the year. It's a great group, and we just had a blast going up there.
So there you go, award-winning. Oh, and hey, we got to talk about the Grammy. Give us because if you're going to name drop something, let's talk about that Grammy you won, man. And I'm not saying you're name dropping. I'm name dropping for you. Tell me about the Grammy Award experience.
Thanks, Robert. I was mostly happy for Freddy Fender, rest his soul, and I got to be a part of his last 2 CDs, and I arranged all of the strings and the horns, and then me and a friend of mine, John Chattenberg, went and played all the violins. So it's a big sound. They wanted real thick strings. I'd like to thank my buddies at Studio M, Ron and Mike Morales, for having me on that project. So we just happened to be on the record, and it won a Grammy. Like I said, I'm more happy for Freddie that he got to get that while he was alive. But it's a huge honor, for me.
Absolutely, man. So once again, if that doesn't convince you, if you're out there listening, if you want to go to you got to go to the show, man. World-class talent and just a really cool guy. Mr. Bobby Flores this Saturday at the Uvalde Grand Opera House. Oh, before I go, I got to mention this because my buddy Camille Sanders at the Opera House. Apparently you guys have worked together in the studio too, right?
Yeah, you talk about a talent. Man, that gal is super talented, and it's going to be great to see her again. It's been a while.
Yeah, very cool. So I just had to bring that up because I always try to, work Camille in whenever I can because that girl needs to get out and she needs to tour and work more and put out more singles. I tell her, I'm like, man, come on, get it, girl, get it.
She needs to come to my studio is what she needs to do.
Right on, very good. Well, man, Bobby, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you and just hear, what a fantastic life you've led, and I'm sure the future has so many more great things in store for you. I guess for those of us who would like to learn more, give us the website, all the cool information, where we can find you.
Okay, BobbyFlores.com. That's the best place to go, and there's places you can go that are click about my recording studio and my music academy here as well. So it's all on BobbyFlores.com.
Any upcoming events that in the region that we might want to make a road trip for, or just look for you out there?
Yeah, we'll be in Brady on the 25th, March 25th for that event, which is Tracy Pitcock's Heart of Texas event. It's a huge 2-week thing. It's just a blast. And then the following night on the 26th, I'll be in Wichita Falls for the WS organization, the Western Swing organization there, and Larry Lang and that group, which is a great organization and a great group of guys. So not anything super close, but man, we're getting a lot of calls, and the gigs are picking up. So I would ask everybody to just check out our schedule on the website, and we'll be posting anything that comes around.
Well, very good. Again, Bobby Flores is playing this Saturday here in lovely Uvalde, Texas at the Uvalde Grand Opera House. Matter of fact, if you'd like to go for free, the guys at the Opera House have got me a pair of tickets. Be my first caller, 830-407-5137. Again, that's 830-407-5137. Here to the studio. First caller gets 2 tickets to see Bobby Flores and the Yellow Rose Band Saturday night at the Uvalde Grand Opera House. And without further ado, let's go ahead and play another track for me, man. We're going to do Fast Company. Give me a quick introduction about what this song's about, and we'll get it on the radio.
Oh, man. You know, that whole album, I got to record a lot of songs by a lot of the old artists that I always wanted to do. Skeets McDonald, Donnie Young, old George Jones tunes, and that is one of them. And they're super country. I tell everybody I've got a pretty sizable hillbilly streak going on, and that song brings it out.
Here it is, Fast Company. This is Bobby Flores. See him Saturday night at the Opera House. This is UvaldeRadio.net.
I wish you knew what I go through when nighttime comes around. But you're too busy having fun on the brighter side of town. I heard about your stepping out and you want no part of me. You changed your face and I lost the race to Fast Company. You're with that Fast Company. When you know that you should be right here with me. These open arms wait patiently. I still believe someday you'll leave that Fast Company. Side of town, and when you're through and feeling blue, I'll still be easy found. The same 2 arms that held you tight keep reaching desperately to hold the one who's had her fun with Fast Company. You're with that Fast